Some of you may have recently heard that XenDesktop supports System Center Virtual Machine Manager. Well, if you have access to the Beta 2, you actually have support for System Center Virtual Machine Manager 2007 in your system as well. If you don't see it when you try to create a pool and you want to add it to your system so you can take a look at it, you have to make sure you log into your XenDesktop delivery controller as we have here, and you have to install the SCVMM Administrator Console. That will give you the PowerShell snap-ins that you need in order to access the SCVMM server remotely on the back end. If you don't want to reinstall XenDesktop Beta 2 in order to get that, what you can do is you can come over here and you can browse your Beta 2 installation DVD, and you can run the pool management service.msi that you see buried down here, and you can run a modify that, and you can select the SCVMM plugin and make sure that you put that in there. In my case, I already have it in, so I'm not going to add it back in again. And once you do that, and you've got your SCVMM controller set up on the back end, got to make sure SCVMM is set up, and deploy some of your virtual machines onto your host. And then we can come back over here to our desktop delivery controller, and we can simply create a desktop group, have it pooled, give it a chance to enumerate our infrastructure, make sure it sees Microsoft Virtualization in that drop-down list, and then we put in our information to speak with our SCVMM host. Now in this case, SCVMM by default, only members of the domain administrator group can administer virtual machines. So you've got to make sure that this account that you use has permissions within your SCVMM system. Once we insert this information in here, we can go through and we can add our virtual machines, and we'll retrieve that information from our SCVMM host, just like we would if it was VMware or if it was XenServer. And if our Active Directory lookup works properly, we will fill in our AD computer count information over here automatically. We'll go in, and I'm just going to add my domain users account just to make things brief. We'll go ahead and click Next, and I'm going to call this my Vista Desktop. As all individuals, occasionally I have typing problems. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to configure the advanced settings because I want to turn on pool management, which here I'm going to have 4 during my peak time, and I'm going to have 2 during my business hours, and I'm going to have 1 during my off hours periods from Monday through Friday. And I'm looking at the Pacific time zone, as you can see here. So we'll go ahead, and I'm just going to have it leave that VM there. I'm not going to have it reboot the VM to roll it back, but you could set the VM to restart. And if you're delivering that with any type of remote boot utility, then that can refresh that VM, or you can leave it in its current state and just users will get additional profiles. I'm going to accept all the default settings here so we can create that desktop group. We're going to switch back over to SCVMM, and look at that, just like that, we're already starting those available pools in our pool management service so that these VMs can boot up and be available for our users as quickly as possible.